And then the director, Chris Bevins, was like, yeah, and just wait, the fans are probably still gonna tell you that you screwed something up and yell at you. I'm like, thanks, Bevins. So yeah, no, she was very cool. I didn't audition for that show, which is the only time that's ever happened. And so that was really crazy. There's also an immense amount of guys in that show and not a lot of women. But I really appreciated that she kept them all in their place. So yeah, it was very cool. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, she has two. Sorry.
Small question.
Yes.
You said you work in LA. Have you ever met or know of Zach Hanks?
Zach Hanks? I don't know. I don't think so.
He's my teacher. He does voice
Oh, cool. Well, the crazy thing about voice actors is 9 times out of 10, we don't know each other. We might have worked with their voices before, but we'll never see each other or meet each other. I mean, I think I worked with Todd's voice on about 14 shows before I even met him. And we see each other all the time, but we don't know who they are. And so at conventions, a lot of times it'll be like, in the green room, no one knows who anybody is, if it's all these new guests, and everyone's super quiet, and then all of a sudden people are like, wait, are you? And we call out their character name, and they're like, oh my gosh, you! I'm like, hi, it's so nice to meet you, so-and-so. I know you by your name and your character and your voice, but I've never seen your face before. So, I might have, I don't know. I could have worked with him and not even known it. Yes?
Okay, so what was it like working with a character like Gage? And just working with games in general, how was it different from working on anime?
It's super different because with anime, we have to match the flaps. So we're very, not restricted, but we're heavily guided by the show, the existing dialogue, where the characters were, where the characters have to go. And with gaming, we have no, like we might have like one character sketch to see what they look like, but we have no flaps, and we rarely know a lot of the story. I mean, they'll tell you when you're recording stuff, they'll tell you stuff like, and this is when she falls down the cliff. We need 14 different reactions of her falling down the cliff. And I'm like, okay. They're like, this is when if she just like tripped slightly. Now she tripped a little bit more, and so you have to like go gradually more and more. But he gave me, with her, it was interesting because she had all the echo logs. And that was the first thing that I did. That was my audition. I had already recorded for the game. The game is supposed to come out in like, I guess it was out in like September or October. I recorded that stuff like middle to late July, so the game was already done. And they said, well, so we have to do these echo logs, so I came in and I'm recording them, and he's like, yeah, feel free to just like throw in some lines if you want to. So the first time I didn't, because I was like, well, you know, for anime they say don't throw in any lines. For on-camera stuff, sometimes you'll offend the writers. I'm like, the last thing I want to do on this job, because I'm super excited about it, is offend anybody. And Anthony, who's the writer and creator of the show, was like, I'm going to need you, seriously, to start ad-libbing some stuff. Seriously, Cherami. I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't start ad-libbing, I'm going to get fired. So I like ad-libbed a whole chunk. And I was like, they're going to cut out like half of that. No, all of that is still in the echo logs. And like, as they getting, like, I guess, by episode 1, video log 1, I played it pretty safe. And then like, as they're progressing, my improv skills went a little crazy. But she was awesome because she's brilliant, and they're like, we really need her to be like wacky and kind of nerdy, but really likable. So we had to do like some, they were like, well, we want to set her laugh first. So I did like various types of laughs, and they're like, can you snort through it? I was like, I don't know. I've never done that before. So they're like, okay. It took a lot of practice to get that down. They were like, that's hilarious. I was like, I don't know if I can do that again. Like, it's so much practice. And then, what was the other thing that I had? Oh, I had trouble doing the guitar riffs. And they ended up putting that into the game, that I had trouble, because there's no way that was getting any better. I don't know why I have trouble with that, but I do. But it was so much fun. And it was hard, because I couldn't tell anybody about it, because it was top secret. So people would be like, what was that super awesome session that you said you worked on? I was like, is this just this little thing? And then there's a bus wrap on a bus that's wrapped with Borderlands on it. I'm like, quit haunting me. I'm keeping the secret. Settle down. So.
Smash the system.
Smash the system.
How many snacks can you get?
Oh, the stacks thing that was like one of the hardest things that I had to do when I was recording it. Because they're like, okay, so we need her to go crazy, but she's like at a 2, and we gotta get to like an 11. I was like, okay. Once I got to like a 6, I was like, can my voice go to? It was like vocal workout whenever he's like, okay, so you gotta dig deep and find a way to get through this, 40 zillion reps. And that was like how I felt doing that. I was like, okay, Cherami, you gotta dig deep and figure out how you're gonna smash the system harder.
In case you're wondering, the actual answer is 150.
150?
Yes.
Gosh, that's terrifying. That's a lot.
I've never gotten that many before. My friends are that good.
Wow. Okay. I'm never going to get 150. I'm really bad. Yes?
Have you ever gotten a line where you're just sitting there like, why?
Yeah, there's been a couple. It's a why, as in, what? How is this relevant to the scene? And then why, as in, come on, why do we have to go there with this? And then there's been a couple where directors brought me in for 2 or 3 lines, and they're like, so Cherami, nobody else wanted to do this. So then it really is like why me? Because you're sweet, and you're always like, yeah, okay, sure. So nobody else wanted to do this, and because you know that I'm nice, you're going to make me do it? Sir, I protest. I'll do it, but I protest. So, yeah, there's been a couple of times where I said why. But usually those are the most hilarious later on. And then the other one that I will say why to is when another voice actor who recorded before me will leave a bomb. And I'm like, is that appropriate? Really? It never is. That's why it's funny. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
What was it like voicing Liechtenstein on Hitalia?
Really scary because she doesn't have a set accent. Yeah. So everybody else has one specific accent. She, since that country is surrounded by other countries with very strong accents, depending on the person that you talk to, they'll tell you what the accent is and they don't sound anything alike. So we listened to all of them, and we would take little pieces of all of the different accents and throw them together. I was like, this isn't even legitimate. This sounds nothing like any of them, but it sounds like all of them. And so that's what we went with. And I was like, I'm going to go to a convention and people are going to be like, I looked this up and that's not what she sounds like. That's not what any of them sound like. And I'll be like, I know, but you listen to all of them individually and you take the A sound from that girl and then the T sound from that girl and the U sound from that one. That's what Liechtenstein sounds like. Clever, huh? So that's how we did that one. But she's so cute and funny. And every time I would be like, need a vocal reference because I got to figure out what she sounds like. I can never remember. She's so cute. Yes?
What was it like voicing Natsumi Hinata on Sergeant Frog?
Oh my gosh, that's just such a disaster. And by disaster, I mean it's amazing because it's one of my favorite shows to work on, but when we would record, it was like, we could not stay focused. It was a recording nightmare because all of the actors watching it are laughing at all of the other actors' jokes. I could not record after Todd had done a laugh. I couldn't do it. I would not be able to say anything. So I say it's a disaster because everybody had to have everyone's tracks muted because we couldn't hear anything anybody was saying or we would not be able to get through our lines. Chris Sabat, every time he would profess his love for Natsumi, I looked at, the first couple of times I looked at Joel, who was directing, and I was like, yes, absolutely. Yes. He was like, Cherami, our line is absolutely not, get away from me, you stupid frog. I was like, Well, but let's just think about it for a second here. Like, listen to the man's voice. He's like, Cherami, it's a frog. I was like, I'm with you there. But just like, listen to what he's saying. He's very sincere. He's like, Cherami. I was like, fine, mute the track. I'll say it. But I couldn't do it. And I love Gyuro. I met the Japanese voice actor for Gyuro, and he gave me he knew I was coming to the convention. He gave me this giant Gyuro plush that he signed, and he presented it to me, saying a line from the show. That, like, I think he said it would be the equivalent of, my dear Natsumi, you will forever be my love. And I was like, whew, yes. Okay, you got it.
Awesome.
Sabat was like, you didn't say that to me. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Go to Japan, find the Japanese Natsumi, and get to it, Sabat. It's the only way this will work. So yeah, no, that show's a blast. We would stick to the script as much as possible. The scriptwriters were crazy and would come up with all of these jokes because our direction from the Japanese creator was to make all the jokes comparable to American culture and not to maintain all of the Japanese. He's like, as little as possible. If it's not funny in American culture, don't use it. And so there's a lot of Disney Channel references in there. I think there's some Justin Bieber stuff in there. And if there's not, there was supposed to be. So yeah, it's a lot of pop culture stuff that we would just be like, oh, let's throw this in there. Another reason why we weren't able to like remain focused. We'd be like, there's like 40 alt tracks. It was awesome. Yes?
Yes, my question would be, what is it like working with Christopher Sabat?
He's amazing.
Because for me, he is the best voice actor and anime director there's been.
He's really cool, and he's such a nice guy. So, I mean, he's super talented, he's super cool. Do not leave your cell phone open around him. He will prank everyone, change your Facebook status. A lot of happen for a lot of people when he's around a phone.
I love him because as Vegeta, Yamcha, and nobody knows this as Jigen from Lupin the Third. I don't know, nobody knew he actually did the voice of Jigen.
Yeah, no, he's insanely talented, and he's such a nice guy. So. And
then the one who does the voice for Krillin, he does also the voice of actual Lupin the Third.
Yeah, Sunny.
And those are the very best actors I really want to meet.
Sunny is super talented too, as Sunny has, I don't know if you've seen his comics.
Yes, I've read his comics. I actually have a couple of his at home. I really want him to meet him and sign them.
They're both like really cool.
And I love him when he sings a Puppet Voice song.
Yeah. He's so
because
cool.
I saw an interview on YouTube, an interview a while back, asking to sing the puppet, saying, me, 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 me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Sunny. He's so fun. He's good people. Yes?
He's the best.
What was it like working with regular voice
He
actors?
is the best. Right.
I actually, since we all record separately, I've never actually gotten to work with Vic. I don't think I've ever been in the studio at the same time that Vic's there. But I've seen him at conventions. He's an awesome guy. He's very funny. He's like super devoted to his fans. But yeah, I mean, he was great with Soul Eater. I just didn't get to work with him. I didn't get to work with anybody. The only times that I ever got to hear anybody was when Todd would record before me, or Jamie would get to record before me. So, yes.
How were you cast in Full Metal Alchemist? How did you get the part?
Well, Mike McFarlane just called me in one day and said that they needed to look for that role because the previous voice actor had grown up and now her voice was lower than a lot of other people.
They need a higher voice.
Yeah. So he let me hear her track and then he worked with me on it, and I guess we just started working on it that day. So, yes?
How was it like for you playing multiple characters in the Claymore as far as their characteristics?
It was really crazy because the first role that I did was the young Claire, which was pretty pretty standard. She was just younger, but she was pretty normal. But then all the monster voices were pretty intense. That was the first time I really got to use like deeper voices and at least try to stretch my muscles that way. So my vocal muscles had not been used to speaking in a deep voice. And then we got to do all the monster stuff and all the yelling and stuff. And the only other time that my voice has probably yelled that dark and like broken glass was when I did Blast Rider.